The Three Little Pigs. Once upon a time, there were three little pigs, and the time came for them to leave home and seek their fortunes. Before they left, their mother told them, "Whatever you do, do it the best that you can, because that's the way to get along in the world." The first little pig built his house out of straw, because it was the easiest thing to do. The second little pig built his house out of sticks. This was a little bit stronger than the straw house. The third little pig built his house out of bricks. One night, the big bad wolf, who dearly loved to eat little piggies, came along and saw the first little pig in his house of straw. He said,
let me in, little pig, or I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down."
"Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin," said the little pig.
Okay.
But of course, the wolf did blow the house down. And the little pig ran to his sister's house. The wolf then came to the house of sticks.
Let me in, little pig, or I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down."
"Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin," said the little pig.
Okay.
But the wolf blew that house down too. The two little pigs ran to their big brother's house. The following day, the wolf was even hungrier and feeling bigger and badder than ever. Prowling around, he came to the third little pig's house. He crept up to the door and called,
Let me in, little pig, or I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down."
"Oh no, not by the hair on my chinny chin chin," said the third little pig. While the first and the second little pigs were hiding.
"I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down,"
said the wolf. And he huffed and he puffed and he blew. But nothing happened. So he huffed and he puffed and he blew again, even harder, but still nothing happened. The brick house stood firm. The wolf was very angry and getting even bigger and even badder by the minute. "I'm going to eat you all," he growled. "You just wait and see." He prowled round the house trying to find a way in. The little pigs trembled when they saw his big eyes peering through the window. Then they heard a scrambling sound. "Quick, quick," said the third little pig. "It's climbing the house. I think it's going to come down the chimney." The three little pigs got the biggest pot they had and filled it up with water and put it on the fire to boil. All the time they could hear the sound of the wolf climbing the house and then walking along the roof. "Aha!" The little pigs held their breath. The wolf was coming down the chimney. Nearer and nearer he came until, with a tremendous splash, he landed in the pot of water. "Yowie!" And shot back up the chimney thinking his tail was on fire. The last the three little pigs saw of the big bad wolf was him flying over the treetops clutching a very sore tail. So, the three little pigs lived happily together ever after in their very smart houses of bricks. Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Once upon a time, there were three bears who lived in a house in the forest. There was a great big Papa Bear,
Hi!
a middle-sized Mama Bear, hello, and a tiny baby bear.
Hey!
One morning, their breakfast porridge was too hot to eat, so they decided to go for a walk in the forest. While they were out, a little girl called Goldilocks came through the trees and found their house. She looked in at the window. She knocked on the door, but there was no reply. Gently, she pushed the door, and to her surprise, it opened. Cautiously, she went in. "Hello?" she called, but no one answered. Goldilocks was so pleased when she saw the porridge on the
Holy
table.
moly!
There were 3 bowls of porridge. 1 large bowl, 1 medium-sized bowl, and 1 small bowl. And by each bowl was a chair, also big, middle-sized, and tiny. Goldilocks scrambled onto the biggest chair because it had the biggest bowl of porridge. She picked up a big spoon and tried the porridge.
Ouch!
She cried, "This porridge is too hot." She moved on to the next chair and the next bowl. Picking up a middle-sized spoon, and she tried the porridge. "Yuck!" she said, for it was very, very cold. Goldilocks moved on to the next chair and the smallest bowl. Picking up the smallest spoon, she tried the porridge. It was just right, so very quickly she ate it all up. As she was finishing it, she began to hear a strange creaking sound. And just as she ate the last spoonful, the legs of the chair she was sitting on broke, and she landed with a bump on the floor. After all the porridge and the bump, she suddenly felt very sleepy. So she went up the stairs to see if she could find somewhere to lie down. First of all, she found a great big bed. She climbed up on it, but ooh, it was too hard.
No!
Then she found a middle-sized bed. She climbed into it, but it was too soft. She felt as though she would disappear in it. Then she found a teeny tiny bed.
Bingo!
This felt just right. So she climbed into it, pulled the covers over herself, and was soon fast asleep. While she was sleeping, the 3 bears came back. They were ready for their porridge. "Huh? What's this?" growled Daddy Bear in his great big voice. It looks as though someone's been messing with my porridge. And whoever it is has left muddy footprints on my chair. Mommy Bear came to look. "You're right, my dear," she said in her soft, middle-sized voice. "Someone's been eating my porridge too. I'm sure the cushion on my chair has been sat on." Then Baby Bear began to cry. "Someone's been eating my porridge, and they've eaten all up, and they've broken my chair as well. Who could have done this? And where are they now?" they wondered. They looked around the house and went upstairs. Well. Someone's been laying in my bed. "Someone's in my bed too," said Mommy Bear. Then a squeak from Baby Bear. "Papa, Mama! Come quickly, there's someone fast asleep in my bed." Papa and Mama Bear raced into his room and stood around the bed looking down at Goldilocks. She woke with a start and was frightened to see 3 bears all looking at her. Before they could say anything, she jumped out of bed, out of the window, and ran away through the woods back to her home. When she told her grandma about the house of the 3 bears in the woods, her granny said, My, what a wild imagination you have, child." Once upon a time, there was a little girl who lived in a village near the forest. Whenever she went out, the little girl wore a red riding cloak, so everyone in the village called her Little Red Riding Hood. One morning, Little Red Riding Hood asked her mother if she could visit her sick grandmother. "That's a good idea," her mother said. So they packed a nice basket for Little Red Riding Hood to take to her grandmother. Remember, go straight to Grandma's house, her mother cautioned. Don't dawdle along the way, and please don't talk to strangers. The woods are very dangerous.
Don't worry, Mommy. I'll be very careful.
Bye.
Bye.
But when Little Red Riding Hood noticed some lovely butterflies in the woods, she forgot her promise to her mother. She watched the beautiful butterflies flit about for a while and listened to the croaking and cackling sounds of the frogs. Little Red Riding Hood was enjoying the warm summer day so much that she didn't notice a dark shadow approaching out of the forest behind her. Suddenly, the wolf appeared beside her. "What are you doing out here, little girl?"
Oh, hi. I am on my way to see my grandma who is sick. She lives through the forest near the roof.
Then she realized how late she was and quickly excused herself, rushing down the path to her grandma's house. The wolf, in the meantime, took a shortcut. The wolf, a little out of breath from running, arrived at Grandma's and knocked slightly at the door. "Oh, thank goodness, dear. Come in, come in. I was worried sick that something happened to you in the forest," said Grandma, thinking that the knock was her granddaughter. The wolf let himself in. Poor Granny did not have time to say another word before the wolf tied her up and hid her in the closet. The wolf poked through Granny's wardrobe to find a nightgown that he liked. He added a frilly sleeping cap, and for good measure, dabbed some of Granny's perfume behind his pointy ears. A few minutes later, Little Red Riding Hood knocked on the door. The wolf jumped into the chair and pulled the pillow over his nose. "Who is it?"
It's me, Little Red Riding Hood.
"Oh, how lovely. Do come in, my dear."
Grandma, I'm here.
"Hello, my dear. I've been waiting for you." She could scarcely recognize her grandmother.
Your voice sounds different, Grandma.
"Oh, it's the cold," squeaked the wolf, adding a cough at the end to prove the point.
But Grandma, what big ears do you have?
"The better to hear you with, my dear," replied the wolf.
But Grandma, what big eyes you have?
"The better to see you with, my dear," replied the wolf.
But Grandma, what big teeth you have?
"The better to eat you with, my dear," roared the wolf, and he leapt out of the chair and began to chase the little girl. Almost too late, Little Red Riding Hood realized that the person in the chair was not her grandmother, but a hungry wolf. She ran across the room and through the door, shouting
Help! Wolf!
as loudly as she could.
Help! Wolf!
A woodsman who was chopping logs nearby heard her cry and ran towards the cottage as fast as he could. Knocked out the wolf and carried him deep into the forest where he wouldn't bother people any longer. Little Red Riding Hood heard a noise coming from the closet, so she opened it and saw her grandmother.
Grandma, I'm so happy to see you.
And Little Red Riding Hood immediately set her grandmother free.
Grandma, I'm glad that you're okay. I'll never speak to strangers or dawdle in the forest again.
Oh, my dear, you've learned an important lesson. Thank goodness you shouted loud enough for the kind woodsman to hear you.